All right, well, it's on. Our first budget meeting of the year for our 2019 budget, City of Nowland. Today is July 23rd, 2018. It's just after 7. Jeff, Mary, Randy, Dan present, Paul absent, and one visitor, Deb Mahutka. So, I believe all we have to go on is the proposed budget report that we received on 6/29.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Rainville.
before we start, do we know if the fire department has been advised of meetings and what night we would have them come in?
To my knowledge, no. We do have a fire board meeting next Tuesday, so I could bring it up at that point.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bryan.
did some digging around and it might not be 100% accurate, but I found some on the State House website about the LGA for 2019. And it may not, and I came up with, at least they had here's what was originally passed, and we changed the bill a little bit to subtract off some amounts, and it came down to, it came down to 28,127. So that looks, at least for now, a little, I may be off base, but it looks like that's less than what we got last year, so.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Bettinger.
Yeah, I think Corey just was saying last week that we got, the first half came, I thought it was like 19,000 some.
For this year?
Yes.
Okay. But then there was something else, or there was that extra. There's the two things. There was the regular LJ, but then there was that extra that they kicked in for like
The ro-
improvements or whatever.
Small city?
Yeah.
This was, I assume this was a small city, was what she was talking
Yeah.
about. 'Cause other years we received like 64 or whatever.
Yeah, last year it was, well, we were budgeted this year at 67, yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting that much.
So the 6749 was the LGA plus the small city
Right.
road. So Randy, you said we're not getting any,
I don't remember the exact amount. It was 19,000 some, she said the first half was.
yeah, but I'm saying that the small city road fund, do you,
I think that is the small city road fund.
it's, I printed it out, but I cannot remember what
and we have other state grants and aids. We got nothing in 2017. We budgeted $10,000 2018. Do you know what that, remember what that was budgeted for?
I do not.
So for last year, the LGA Small Cities Assessment, the 67,489 was 27,773 for LGA, and then small cities was $39,716. That's on the, from the budget sheet, from approved budget from last year. The $10,000,
What was the LGA, Dan?
LGA was 27,773. Small cities was 39,715. The 10,000 proposed was a grant for the comp plan.
That's
That's
right,
what's on
okay.
the, from the approved budget from last year. So I'm guessing that just hasn't come in yet.
Probably, I would assume it won't until we submit our comp plan.
And the other thing that would, most of it would come out would be, for next year would be just about $12,000 for, that we budgeted for elections for this year. That wouldn't necessarily have to be, could be shuffled around for next year. That would potentially help offset the small cities. Part of that was there was some, I don't know if there was anything specific to elections in an off year that needed to be any legal notice publishing that was done in 2017. I just don't know what specifically that would be.
Unless there, sometimes we've got the, when they're upgrading equipment. And let's make payments on equipment. Right.
That's what 1,200 was in there
The
for last year.
1,200, yeah.
Yeah, 1,300.
The equipment was, we budgeted 1,200 last year.
2017, 2018, we
2017,
1,200, we, last year budgeted 13.
so I don't know if that needs to stay for anything special for 2019.
It'd be smart to keep it there.
So the total we budgeted for last year elections was 11,935, so 12,000.
Right. So if we're keeping the, equipment there, that'd be 10,007-ish.
In 2014, it was 700 actual. 2015, it was 980. 2016, it was 1,000. 2017, it was 1,200.
There's a couple other little things that we can talk about if need be, but depending on what our goals are, or what we as a council want to do for next year.
On the receipt side, under glaring overages, underages.
What's that?
You see any other glaring overages or underages on the receipt side?
On the receipts?
The prosecuting attorney is kind of, but that was because this 2017 billing didn't come till 2018, so it looks kind of,
It's like
we
3
were
months,
low, we were
wasn't it?
low in 17, but we're already pretty high on 18. So it was 2 quarters behind, I think, wasn't he, or
At
his
least.
billing?
Yeah, at least.
Right now, nothing major else is jumping out at me under receipts.
I'd say the court fines and administrative fines seem a bit high. 15,000 on the court fines, and we did 8,700 in 2017, and 31 so far. Administrative fines, nothing in 2017 and 600 so far. So I think that's probably overly aggressive.
Is that just trend or?
Well,
That's administrative fines?
it's both, it's administrative and
And
court
court.
fines.
Okay.
They both seem high.
Well, 2014, it was 18,000. 15, it was 20,000. 16, it was 27-ish thousand.
What are you looking at?
Looking at the spreadsheet with the summary of the 2018 approved proposed budget that went back to 2014.
So you're looking at court fines?
Adding court fines and administrative fines.
Excuse me.
Motion.
And we didn't really have anything last year, though, administrative fines, and this year, nothing neither,
Very
so.
quiet.
Well,
One thing we didn't make a
administrative
deci-
fines were way up there.
We didn't make a decision on fire calls and whether we were gonna build them back or not. Remember, we were gonna discuss that again, or Paul was supposed to come up with.
Oh, yeah, Paul was gonna work with staff on that. I think that went back to January.
Well, court fines, unless he's way behind on that. Yeah, it does seem like
Seems like we're paying out a lot for him, not getting much in return.
well, so court fines, we had 8,700 in 2017. That dropped way down from 17,000, 15,000, 14,600. Either people are behaving much better or we're just not collecting as much. I can see where the 15,000 would come in, because if you average 14, 15, 16, 17, not quite. Yeah, so over 4 years, prior to this year, we averaged 14,000. 17 was half of what we've been doing. And this year, we'd be looking at about 6,200, 6,300.
For the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is 629 or halfway point, unless he's not billing us again or not.
Well, it
Communicating.
wouldn't be the billing, it would,
That'd be a receipt.
yeah, that would be
Oh, yeah, but-
disbursements. So I just wonder
Has
how
he-
the county if they do it quarterly, maybe. I don't know, we've never been told when those come in. I'm sure they don't write a check every month to every city.
Well, if we're gonna be that far off, or it's dropped off that much. Find out before, how things are going, see if.
Well, we've gotten some money forwarded to us already,
Right.
and this is 629, so it's a good chance it's quarterly. We'll have to find out. We get contributions and donations from private sources. We budgeted nothing, and so far we're at 12.3.
And last year it was 4,700, and in 2016 it was 21,000. Yeah, but donations for 2016 was 26,708.77. So, probably still up and down. Probably not something necessarily I'd want to budget for.
As of 629, do you think those two from the Lions are in here yet? So we didn't vote on it till July.
One's probably in there, but one went to the fire department.
Yeah.
That's why it goes up and down so much. And another year, one was the damage in the park, so it went to the parks.
Right, but regardless, it all should be hitting at and in on that line item, right? No.
No, no. it's donated to parks, it go to the park fund.
We had that discussion last year, we donated to the city and then dispersed to the park fund.
Cause it had to be, unless we're tracking under, which I didn't recall seeing anything under the fire tracking donations
Nothing
and
under-
parks tracking donations in.
Well, then it's not all there because the one group, I think it wasn't their donation over 5 before they switched to the hockey association over here.
Right.
Over
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah,
And the Ramsey Lions have donated 15 this year already, so that'd be over 20.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
I
not,
think-
it's not there.
so
Yeah, it's not
recorded,
there
but I
yet,
think
yeah.
it all would end up there and then gets transferred to where it needs to go. It starts there, I guess is what. I'm
As a
saying.
receipt.
As a receipt, you would hit donations in the general account. And then if I remember that, that's how it
Disbursement will
was tracked,
be-
and then it was dispersed to wherever. Yeah, because there's no income under parks, it's just expenses.
Right. Well, there is under parks, the concession and ball field rental, but that's separate from,
So yeah, if we wanted to get into the detail, we'd have to see how all that gets moved around. But,
I would think the donation for the nozzle, that came from Ham Lake, would be in
Yeah.
there, because that was in June that we did that, I think, May or June. And there was something earlier from Ham Lake too, I believe, first quarter.
So the one we signed off on in July here, the $5,000 for the fire department, I think that was the nozzle?
No,
No.
no, that was a previous month, if not the month prior to that. That was either
That
May or
was
June.
April or May, or June or May.
Yeah,
So this is just an additional Ramsey
the last two,
designated for the fire
Contributions.
department.
Yeah.
So then so we need a breakdown of what this 12.3 is.
10,000 would have been a June donation, we accepted in July. 5,000 for the fire department was a July donation, accepted in July.
and I,
think. No, we just had our July meeting, but that would
yeah,
have been June.
wouldn't have been,
Would have been May, June,
yeah,
yeah.
May and June. And I did provide Corey with and I talked about a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet on tracking the contributions. And that was in the folder of, that'll be what we'll be doing. So, I don't know where that is right now, but it was as current as the last two contributions from the Ramsey Lions, because that was the day that they had come in. And so then I took the sheet back home and updated it and then emailed it to her.
does the assessor contract go up by a specific amount for next year, or does it stay where it was at for the duration of the contract? Because I think when we approved the budget, we still hadn't officially just made a decision last year on the assessor, so we just left it where it was. I mean, if you doubled what we spent this year, it would be a couple grand over. It's one of those things that might be a couple grand here or there. I'll have to go find it again.
Go back to page 2 there. Proprietary fund revenues. That's one of those where we haven't really been tracking what we're getting in for dollars for appliances, tires, electronics. So there's revenue coming in there that should show up here and then to be dispersed to the recycling. And we've got $30 on appliances and $35 on tires year to date. I think last year we discussed this because it's a pass-through, we weren't really tracking it, but because of that, we really don't know how much revenue we're bringing in. And so when we have a situation like this year, where we didn't get all the funds that we requested, what they're saying is we need to track better what we're actually getting. You know, there was a discussion when we met with the assistant county attorney in Sioux Dahl. I brought up the fact that every time we discuss it, as far as revenues, that there's been an understanding. Corey would say, well, the more you get here, the less you're gonna get from the county, so it's not really anything to worry about. If people are turning in appliances and tires and not paying for them, the county's gonna cover it. And the attorney was quite shocked. No, that's not the way it works at all. And I said, well, that's the perception that's out there. And Sue Dahl said, pretty much is, yeah. You know, you don't have to worry about making sure you're collecting all your revenue because that just shortchanges what you're gonna get from the county. If you take more revenue in, the county's not gonna give you as much in a grant. And the attorney was quite flabbergasted by that and said she would be looking into that. But to explain to people, that's not the way it is at all. You need to get your revenue from people that are dropping off. And I think in order to do that, we need to track. If we're recycling 1,500 tires when we got paid for 500 of them, we should at least know that. Is that something that we're gonna keep subsidizing? And this year, it makes a difference because we didn't get all the money from the county. So, again, it would appear to me, even though it's a pass-through, we're getting this much revenue in and we're spending this much to recycle. And the revenues aren't keeping up with that. You know, there should be, you know, what money we get from the county should be accounted for in the receipt side. Anything we get on appliances or recycled goods should be on the receipt side. And I would guess if we're getting paid, you know, there's a score fund. If we're getting paid for the aluminum, getting paid for the paper, we should know what that is, because right now, I think paper and cardboard is next to nothing. And there's a reason that the refuge plant in Elk River is probably going under, because they're just not getting any revenue off their recycled goods. So I think right now, the only way we track that is on the score report. We're not really bringing in receipts on this side and paying it out on the other side. It should be balanced. Here's what's coming in, here's what's going out, and we're either breaking even or we're losing money on it, or I don't think we'd ever be making money on it. So somewhere we started tracking something here. We got $65 in receipts so far this year. And I'm hoping we get paid for more than that. Heck, we did more than that just on recycling day,
Yes.
many hundreds on recycling day.
And would that then include, cause I'm assuming they're paying us for like the glass and the scrap that we bring in?
Yeah, yeah, there's receipts, and that's all part of the score report. You know, we bring in glass, paper, cardboard, aluminum, and even the scrap metal. Yeah, there's some basic reimbursement.
Right, so whatever they're giving us, then, that
And we're
would be,
paying out to somebody to haul it.
It's all being kept track of, it's just not shown here.
So if we've, I'd be
Usually
surprised if
there's
we've
that
only
separate
brought in
recycling
$65
page.
this year. So where
that's what
else
you're
would
getting
it
at.
be?
No, it's gonna, it's on the score report. It's
Score
not, it's
report.
not gonna be showing up in our budget though.
Yeah.
I'm saying when we've gotten budget summaries, there's usually been a separate page, here's where we're at for recycling, what we've
Recycling
taken
center,
in, what
yeah.
we've paid out. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Assessment contract.
Yeah, the recycling's not under, we don't have anything under disbursements for it either yet.
So the costs for the assessor would be adjusted based on whatever the county assessor changes. So if they increase their operating costs, cost of living, or merit adjustments, then that would affect our next year's, or the future year's assessment contract. So it's not a specific increase. So
Okay, so that,
could be tweaked a little.
oh, we need to check on assessor rates for 2019. Sheriff contract. On the recycling, doesn't Cory say she would allocate certain wages, benefits to that? So year-to-date, we have $391.73 allocated for wages and part-time, salaries and part-time employees. Am I missing something there?
That should be more.
Well, let's look at it, because there was nothing put in for last year. I wonder if that's because, yeah, we have budgeted $14,000 for the past, well, since at least 2014 for part-time, for recycling, on the recycling budget. But then, I don't know if they, accounting, if there's a separate way that she's tracking, or that we were tracking the recycling stuff for the score report, so there just might be a mismatch. Cause this doesn't have the numbers for how much we budgeted to bring in for bulbs and cans and all that other stuff. That's not in this packet.
No, I don't, yeah.
Dan, do you have from the, do you have anything have we been given any information on what we've received so far in the first half disbursements? First half revenues?
I don't think from the county? If I remember it, that didn't, well, that probably would have came in July, if I remember
It
right.
should be in our July packet.
I don't remember there being anything in July packet though.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have made the report, but I.
No, I'm just saying, in the monetary, should have been on that report,
On the financial report.
financial statement.
General. That would be a receipt for the general fund?
Yeah.
No, not yet. That was only, I'm assuming that's not right. There's only a total receipts of 43,000 and change in there, so I'm assuming that hadn't hit yet. Looking if there's anything else. Yeah, the recycling center on the July has a receipt of $2,691.15. But yeah, I'm assuming that there would be we would should be seeing triple digits in the total receipts if that would have hit, and it's not here yet, so. And one other thing we talked about last year for a little bit was lining up the farmer's market income with the farmer's market expenses.
Yeah, I think we should do that on all of them. You know, I mean, if we're going to have revenue from fields, you know, what's our cost? You know, we've been trading maintenance for rental. Till we know what we're getting. Had some confusion this year where we started mowing, so the people that agreed to mow didn't mow, and then we quit mowing and it got really long. So we should understand what that is. So right now, on the, is there a revenue location for park rental? We've got one for city hall rental.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. That's on page 2, halfway down, culture and recreation.
So far this year, we've only collected $30.
Yeah. Which doesn't make sense.
Was park and recreation concessions.
That would be any of the pavilions.
So when Tony does auctions out here, is any charge for that?
I don't know, because I don't know if he's renting the building or
By
just
the time
the,
we were up here, the building was open.
yeah, then I would assume he is paying for it.
Cause yeah, they were parking in the field, they were parking up and down everywhere.
Might have to look at the permit that they pulled. The other thing with rental at City Hall, part of rental at City Hall includes the kitchen. And so people have the ability to use the stove and the refrigerator. I don't know if they stay long enough to use the dishwasher. The cabinets are locked. But those are items that are owned by the now then seniors. I just want, if we should have any discussion as to compensation for that.
Yeah, but the city pays for all the heat, the cooling, and all the utilities for the seniors too, so, I mean,
Yeah.
if they're gonna sort of take all the revenue, then they should take the expenditures.
And the seniors meet once a week, or excuse me, once a month. So that's minimal, and they don't touch anything, it's already all done.
I would say at this point, let sleeping dogs lie,
Okay.
until we get some other bigger things taken care of. But it would be nice to know year over year what the rental fees have been, because now that the Lestadian Lutherans are doing their own sales there, they don't rent it.
Right.
They would, at least twice a year, they would rent it. Tony used to rent it on a regular basis to have his pickup from his online auctions. So it'd be nice to know what our trend was there.
Kind of City Hall rent over the past 4 years. Kind of 6,500, 5,100, 7,000, and whatever last year was.
$3,500.
35.
Yeah, so last year was down. But prior to that, we're at, let's say, averaging
Or
about
3,000 already this year.
Yeah,
So we're averaging about 6,000. I think last year we thought we'd actually be down a little bit.
Yeah, because Tony had moved
Well, that in the church.
from the church. Yeah, but Tony was more consistent than the church.
1,500, 2,600, 4,100, and 600 year to date. Which,
I would guessing they'd be tapering off next year. If that's mainly CenturyLink doing their stuff, right?
last year was.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they still have something to do, but, yeah, it's gonna be affected by new homes, it's gonna be affected by new gas lines going in like down here. If they're paying them.
So,
Yeah, we kept it at 1,200, you know. I think the last 2 years we were expecting a boost because of CenturyLink. But we did almost 1,200 in 2014, 1,500 in 2015. 16 and 17 would have been the CenturyLink. Anybody still mining out there, Randy?
Everybody what?
Anybody still mining?
Mine,
We have mining permits here. We budgeted $500.
I don't know. I don't think so. Springer Pit's closed down. And that's Steve Manson, I don't know if he's still hauling. Langer. I don't think there's too much being hauled. Going back to that local government aid, what year didn't one year, the first year we got like 64,000, was that 2016?
no, I don't think it was that much in 2016.
Yeah, it was.
I thought the very
That was
first
the
year was
first
like
year.
64,
And then 17, they ended up with nothing.
yeah.
In 18, we got some again. Because they told us 16 was 64, and they said anticipate twice that. In 2017, they ended up with nothing.
Yeah.
That's,
And then they came back with a whole revised plan in 2018.
well, then it's not tracked on here under LGA,
No,
so it was somewhere else. So it could have been more, but I don't know where.
went
it
into
was
the
tracked.
road fund.
Oh, it went directly to roads?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's accounting differently than how we did it last year, okay.
Yeah, well, because typically we don't get much in LGA,
Right,
and that we thought was a one-time deal, so they just put it right into the road and bridge.
oh, okay. That's why it wouldn't show up on here then, okay.
And that becomes the problem with, if we don't track it on receipts and then disperse it. We we'd have a way of going back there, we have to go back to meeting minutes rather than going to a report and saying, here's where it came in, here's where it got moved over.
Okay.
There were a number of those that went right into accounts. Like some, like Randy was saying, some of the donations went right into the park fund or capital equipment accounts that went right into that without ever showing up as a receipt.
In 2017, for small roads, we were supposed to get 39,716.
Yep. Yeah, that,
See, I can go
because the
back.
LGA amount and the small city amount were
Yeah.
combined as a receipt for 2018.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the article on.
So where did you see that in 2017? We got 14 in LGA. We got 10 in agricultural market value credit. 10,000 in state grants, which was the last year of our park. So what did we get for small city roads?
Well, for
2017?
2017 was $39,716.
For this year.
That's what I'm just reading here
Yeah.
from,
Revenues for 2018.
yeah,
Yeah, because we got nothing for roads in 2017.
right.
So the sale of investment in 2017, we got 128,347. And our lot that we sold this year and closed on May, was it? Hasn't shown up on here yet either.
for,
Do you have, Dan, access to what our contract is for the audit, internal audit? Our professional audit?
It would be in a packet. From December or January. See if I can find it.
yeah, I can't find the 2018. Funding for 2019.
I'd say take some digging. I don't have it off the top of my head, no. Or the top of my iPad, I should say.
All right, we got a question here on page 5, general government. We've got repair and maintenance contractual. We budgeted 15.5, 2017, we spent 31,000. We budgeted 16.5, 2018, we're already up at 12,000. Is that where we put the furnace?
I would say some of that is, in 17 is the
I thought the
furnace.
Furnace was under capital outlay, other equipment for last year, at the very bottom of that page.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And what have we spent 12,000 on so far this year?
Some of that what's all in there? I'm trying to think. Is that the? I can't think of it off the top of my head. No, it's not the mats. That is the, it's not coming to me right now. There was an increase for, there was a note for last year for increased services. That's why it was going up from last year to 16.5.
Andy, do you know, the decision on the signs for the bumps over here? Does anybody recall discussing that in our meetings?
Yeah, we approved to have them put up.
Yeah, but weren't we gonna check with the county on,
I thought Shane was supposed to check with Joe and do some checking on the drainage ditches to get them cleaned.
Right, so that we could actually fix the road, fix the problem that caused the road to,
well, we spent
Yeah.
$1,500 on signs. That's almost, I think the repair that we had proposed, the temporary repair was like 2,500. We went out and bought $1,500 worth of signs from somebody other than Paul's neighbor in the county. I just wondered what did we authorize that or discuss that? Or anybody remember
Yeah, that's what,
$1,500 worth of signs?
instead of doing the repair, that's what the motion that was approved was to put them the signage up there.
I don't recall that. I'd have to go look
Yeah.
at the notes.
Well, $1,500, I mean, the land use ones we did were less than that,
Oh, yeah.
so I wouldn't think,
These, I'm sure we don't own, they're just for renting them, they maintain them.
We bought them.
We bought them.
Troy's bringing it up at this month's meeting. So I don't know, he got a copy, he's got a copy of the receipt. Somebody went and brought him a copy and said, here's what we paid for signs. Could have just put that into the roads. I don't remember ever authorizing $1,500 worth of signs.
It was to have Joe to put up signs there warning that there was bumps there. You know, I guess, I don't know why you choose to purchase instead of rent them, or,
I just, when it was brought to my attention, why we made that decision, I said, I don't know that we did. I don't remember recalling that it's gonna cost $1,500 and I may have the numbers off, but that was what was told to me that.
no, I think that's probably about right. I remember seeing the bill up, but I didn't look at it that close, just to see that we were purchasing them.
I've not seen anything.
But if we did, they could, can be reused, or,
Yeah, it seems extraordinarily high compared to what, the other ones we checked with, Paul was checking with his contact in the county, and Ramsey and Elk River at times have said, we have sign houses here, we can work with you. And we went to somebody else, and I didn't recall having that discussion, so.
yeah, I remember when we approved it, but I guess we didn't probably put the detail in there, whether it was just to get signs that they hadn't put up. We didn't say purchase them or rent them, or,
But it's funny because I get texts pretty much every day on authorization. Today it was having the recycling stuff all the way. I mean, it's a lot of $100 things. It's normal everyday business one, and I'm surprised that one didn't come across as need $1,500 for signs, so. seems like there's not a consistent process yet, so. All right, another big fish tonight. We're gonna be boring somebody on the internet to death. I recommend we go through our year-to-date. I'm gonna, it's all right with the council, I would like to talk to Ellen and see if she can give us a current year-to-date, since we've got our money from the city, from the county, so that we have that for our next budget, if she says she can get into CTAS, so. Is that all right with the, council, that I go talk to her about that?
That insurance information that was provided us tonight, I think we could either check with other communities to see what they're paying per employee, per month. And we could just say, here's what we're gonna pay per month. You can pick, you as a group can pick your insurance plan.
That,
That was,
it was my understanding, you can only pick one plan.
Right, but let
Yeah.
them pick it.
Yeah, well,
As-
that's,
as a
Paul
group.
and I were gonna sit down and talk with staff and
Yeah.
say, this is what these are where our numbers are right now. What, do you wanna go stay with the higher deductible, do you wanna go lower deductibles? What's their preference? And, other cities are, it's hard to compare because it's based on age. And, then, family, if you look, those that have more than one, those premiums are higher, but it's all based on ages.
we have some numbers from different cities that was included at one point in
Yeah,
time.
Corey did,
Yeah.
but what was hard with that is it says 100%. Well, 100% of
Right,
what?
when it's a
What's their premium?
When they give you a percentage, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
the county gave you a flat fee, for a single person, and then a flat fee if you, family coverage.
correct.
And then they had different policies you could pick from. So you got them dollars, and if you want the better policy, you're paying more yourself, so let them choose it.
Yeah.
So I think if we just say, okay, we're, whatever it is, $800, $900, whatever, the city's gonna pay $900 for your insurance. You as a group decide what's policy you want, whether you want a bigger deductible, smaller deductible, or we paid X amount of dollars for single coverage, X number of dollars toward family coverage. And let them-
Well, yeah, memory serves me, because we have so few employees, we can't offer that option of you pick of the four that you want, knowing how much each of these four costs.
Right,
So that we can only offer one program. one-
right, as a group, they'd have to decide what that's gonna be.
Correct, yep.
Right,
Yeah.
they can decide that.
And
As
that's
a
what Paul and I are gonna sit
Yeah.
down and talk with them and say, these are the numbers that we have right now, for the different options that we can get through our agent. What's most important to you? A low deductible, a high deduct, what's important to you, and then,
But I think it should be, the offer shouldn't be more than the premium.
correct. Right.
'Cause
And,
if the, when Jeremy was here, we were offering a flat fee for everybody. Well, his premium was $60 a month or something. I mean, it was,
yeah,
his was extremely low, and that's where he just said, I'll donate my money somewhere else.
yeah,
But it really should be so much up to a max, not to exceed the actual cost of the premium.
Yeah,
and with what had been presented to us, by going to that dollar amount, it would, based on what we have now, or excuse me, based on what we had at the time, us going up to that 850 that was requested, that would have actually been more than what the premium was for the whole packet premium. So the employees wouldn't have been paying anything for medical. So, that's why I broke it down by, so that first page is prior to the employee change, what the monthly premium is, what it is yearly, what we pay monthly and yearly, which was 76% of the premium. Currently, as it stands, prior to the increase, we're paying 62% of the premium. And employees pay 38% of the premium. And that changed because we lost a single employee and took on a family. And the council also has to kind of decide what is that happy number of what are we gonna pay towards a premium?
How do they,
And
how
then
to
what
figure out
percentage?
on, how do we determine on families what the council?
Without, yeah, so then you have to figure that out. And on the sheet that we were provided, the spreadsheet that we were provided earlier, there was a 10%. It said 10%, and I asked what that 10%, where was that from? And that was just I picked out that number, was my response, so it really isn't irrelevant. So I looked at, online I was able to find St. Francis, where they used to just give you a stipend, they didn't offer medical, they just gave you a stipend, you can no longer do that. So what St. Francis does is pay for the cost of a single coverage, and the family coverage will be at 66% of the cost, or $200 a month, whichever is greater. I don't know what their single cost is, though. And again, it's gonna be less than ours, just based on numbers. And when we met with the agent, I said, can we combine with another city to help us with the numbers? And he said no, and technically, only a city that's got really high rates are gonna want you because you've got better rates. So and then you can get kicked off if all of a sudden our employees are costing more. And on the spreadsheet that Corey gave, so St. Francis was 100%, but we didn't know what 100% of what. Columbus was 783. St. Paul Park has like a cafeteria plan, but the agent was saying you really can't do that anymore. Newport was 100%, but of what? Greenfield was 822, Oak Grove was 80%, but we don't know of what. So they were, they were between 783 and highest was 1125. But that's for a city like Circle Pines, those are bigger cities with bigger tax base. As far as the family, yeah, St. Francis is $66. St. Paul Park offers, looks like $300 more. Newport has a percentage, so we don't know what that means. Greenfield didn't, looks like it's the same. Oak Grove does 70% of the family, but it's a percent, so we don't know what it is. Deep Haven gives $1,300. And then two other, excuse me, give percentages, but we don't know what the percentage means, So Paul and I will meet with the employees, saying this is kind of where we're at with these numbers. What are their thought process? Do they want to stay with the higher deductible, go with a lower deductible? And either way, then we need to look at from what we currently provide per employee. And there won't be any pooling anymore because all of their premiums are higher than the pool amount, higher than the policy amount.
So Mary, on this sheet here, so there's 3,600, 3,600. So this is current,
The top one on page 2 is what it's gonna be with.
assuming a 17%.
Yeah, which is what we have, 17.7% increase.
And then, so the existing,
The 18 existing means we stay with the same $3,600, $7,200.
with a 17% increase.
That, yes, everything on this second page includes the increase, yes.
Okay. So 850 times 3, so then over on the right-hand column, this is,
That's what it would be if we increased our contribution to $900.
all right, so this last one, 2,500, 5,000, it's 850?
That should be 9. Those are all 9s.
And back up to the top left. This is for 3 employees?
That is for the current 3 employees, yes. All of this is based on figures that I received today from our agent.
And the 900 is more than the current premium here.
For that, for some of them, yeah. For the one,
Well, it's more
Yeah.
than any single one,
correct.
so you should probably base it on what we would do singly and then what we would do for family, because every family is gonna be significantly different. I mean,
Well, and every single is gonna be different based on age.
right.
So that's where the county, it's not, single coverage, everybody pays the same.
Well, and that's because they're dealing with a bigger pool. I had the same thing at the city. It was this or
Yeah,
that.
we've got 30 employees and everybody pays by age.
Yeah, when you have the smaller numbers, you
By
can't.
age and then we have a certain coverage for the individual employee and then we share a different rate with family. So. Yeah, so that's what we'd have to have that conversation is if we're not going to compensate more than the individual
Yep.
rate, and then what would we do for families? The maximum would be whatever. And then what we do is we then take the total benefit package and say, here's your wage plus your, because that changes it, if you're in a higher insurance bracket, your compensation proportionally goes higher.
And the letter we received from Ms. Lent asks us to go above the 850 and continue to keep, this is how I read it, continue to keep the premium that we would have been paying for Corey in there, which really ends up being 4829, which is more than any of the packet, I mean, any of the premiums per month, so we wouldn't do that. Because again, we're providing more money than,
I agree with Jeff, I think we should just decide what we wanna pay for single coverage. And what we wanna pay for family coverage.
Yeah, and I think you want to be careful not to go and appear to give direction to the staff and then say, oh, that's not at all what the council agreed on, so. We have some numbers that we can take a look at. The only thing available to us, if we're sticking with the AT group, are the numbers we have before us, and then we just say, the reality is, pick a deductible. Our company chose the no Mayo just because it saves cost. A higher deductible, lower deductible, which is still high. Mayo, no Mayo. All right, I think what we need to do is take a look at I'll get Ellen to, see if she can get in updated year-to-date. We should look at where we're at, compared to budget. Those would be the flyers that we're looking at, which things are we already over 50%, and are they, I understand gas, we're gonna be over because of the winter time, but we're not gonna use much in the summer. But we have to anticipate which things are basically level loaded throughout the year and which things are seasonal. But take a look and see where we're off both. I think we've covered most of the revenue, but take a look at the revenue side, the receipt side, and the disbursement year to date. Take a look at our history and come back and see where we want to tweak it.
Yeah, I'd like some more things to be possibly checked on, or she could get some numbers on. We had talked about doing a wage study in the past, and we had numbers, but that was a few years ago, I'm sure it's more now. But maybe we could pull up that old information and raise it up some to do a wage study. And also check on employee raises, if they got variable percents, what would we have to raise the levy to offset that, take care of that? And one other thing we've talked about one of our meetings is, Shane had mentioned that most cities have a road patching fund. Do we want to add that in? Where we could contract out to do he was saying like $30,000 a year in patching roads. To have somebody comes in and they got the rollers to tack and they got all the stuff to patch roads properly. Do we want to start a fund for that or not? I don't know.
Have that separate from
The road improvement
the
fund.
road improvement fund?
Yeah.
Would that, just go in under the repair maintenance contractual under paved, or do you want a separate? I mean, right now we have the crack sealing in there pretty much is the 30 grand,
we-
36,000.
If we could, we could have a separate line, I think, just for that, or,
I don't know.
Cause you're gonna do more, in theoretically, we should be looking at doing more than just crack sealing, it would be, and cold patching. Especially now with as equipment gets more advanced, they can just come in and plop some patches in. Kinda what you're getting, that's basically what you're getting at?
well, to patch some of these roads right, you should be compacting them, you should be digging them out, tacking the edges, and patch. When they get as bad as Roger Lakes, that's beyond that. But, you know, like 213th, maybe the cul-de-sac, there's some areas, smaller areas, but they're bigger than just a load of material. So that it gets cut out and done right, like this culvert crossing, stuff like that. Our guys aren't equipped to do that.
No.
There's some pretty much every year that needs to be done, so.
Right.
Yeah, if we're gonna do the work, do it
What we're
right.
looking at, it's budgeting.
I just thought I'd bring it up. I know we mentioned in the meetings, Shane had mentioned it, and he said most cities spend 30,000 a year plus on patching. Well, maybe we should be looking at that.
Anything else? There's nothing else, I move to adjourn.
Second, meeting adjourned.